All right, so today we're going to talk about compound interest. And compound interest is mostly to do with banks. In other words, the banks will pay you interest when you put your money in their bank. It's because they borrow money from you to pay other people. That's really what it boils down to. The more money you have, the more they pay you. When interest is compounded and added to the money you already have, then the bank pays you interest on your original amount and the interest that they've already paid you. It's like free money. So let's talk about these variables first. A is your total amount in account, which is your total. Okay, your total. P is your principal. Okay, and your principal is your initial value, or your starting, if you want, initial / original value. Okay. Your R is your rate of interest. Okay, and your rate of interest is usually a percent as a decimal. We've talked about that before. Okay, so what you have to do, remember, is move decimal 2 places left. N is your number of times compounded, and I am going to talk about that right here in just a second. And T is your time periods. Remember, we've talked about this before. It's not always exactly just years, but in this section it usually is. Okay. Compounded annually means, well, obviously 1 time a year. Compounded quarterly, think if there's 4 quarters in $1, so there'd be 4 times as compounded in a year. Compounded monthly would be 12 times. There's compounded semi-annually, which would be 2. There's compounded daily, which would be 365, or in this year, 366. We're not going to deal with that. We're just going to deal with these. Now, examples here. We're going to use this formula right here. And we've already identified all the variables. We're just going to figure out what's what. So let's identify what's what in this problem. You deposit $1,500. That sounds like my original value. So that's my P right there. We'll circle that. Into account that pays 3.5% interest. I'm going to underline that. Remember, 3.5, you move the decimal over 2 places, equals 0.035, because you would just put that in there. Okay? So that is my R, interest rate, as a decimal. After 18 years, that looks like that's my T. Okay, so let's start filling stuff in here. A equals 1,500 times, it's always 1 plus, it has it right there, the rate, which is 0.035, divided by N, the number of times. Well, if it says compounded annually, then N equals 1. Let's maybe circle that too. Okay, so divided by 1 to the 1 times 18 power. Again, N shows up in both of these spots. 18 is my number of years. So really what I'm doing here is taking 1,500 times 1.035 to the 18th power. By now you should know how to do that. Plug it right in like that. 1,500 times 1.035 to the power of 18. And just double check your answer. Are you getting what I'm getting? That is your solution. You should be labeling it dollars. Label, 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 everything in here, okay? All right, let's go on to the next problem. Number 2, make sure you can see all those here. We're still going to use the same formula, okay? So I'm going to write it up here, like so. And it's giving me my P, it's giving me my R, it's giving me my T, and the N is going to change here. For this, N equals 1. For this, N equals 4. For this, N equals 12. And we've already talked about that up above. So I'm going to set this problem up the same way on all of them. And I want to see which one makes the most money. My principal is $2,000. Cool, I'm going to put that on all of them. Then I've got 1 plus the interest rate. Well, the interest rate is 4.8. If I move it over 2 places, it's 0.048. You can notice nothing has changed in all of these so far because they have the same principal, they have the same rate. What I do need to do is have a different N here. Here N equals 1, so I put that there and there. Here it equals 4, so I put that there and there. Here equals 12, so I put that there and there. And what I'm doing with out here is n times t. Well, I know my n's now for each one of these. My t is just my years, so 1 times 15 there, 4 times 15 there, 12 times 15 there. Now what you want to do is you want to simplify this before you plug it in, but use your calculator. In other words, this would be, well, 2,000 times 1.048 to the 15th, which would give me $4,040.63. Go ahead and make sure you're getting these too. On this, you need to simplify this again. 2,000 times 1.012 to the 60th power, and you're going to get 4,091.29. Think this is going to be higher or lower? Look what happened. After annually, after quarterly, it was about 50 bucks more. Let's see if that happens here. This is 2,000, 1.004 to the 180th power, which is 4,102.97. So it's not as drastic of a difference, but it certainly is more money. So in general, maybe we write this over here. So in general, more money, more compounding. The more you compound it, the more money you're going to make. What if it's not so nice? Like I could divide these by 4 and by 12 real nice. But what if I can't? You need to use order of operations, so your calculator will understand you. So I'm going to have 2,000 times 1 plus 0.047 over, let's say this is monthly, so 12 to the 12 times 15 power. So when I go to plug this in, I'm going to get 2,000. Here, I want to do order of operations here. First of all, I should multiply these together, okay? I'm going to get 180. Okay, now PEMDAS, parentheses, exponent, which I did. Multiplication, division. So I need to divide this out, and I get 0.003916 repeating. Then I add 1.003916 repeating. Now if I look at this, don't just round this. You're going to lose money. I'm going to talk about in class how if you round that up, then you're frauding the bank and you're going to probably go to jail. If you round it down, then you're losing money to yourself, and you don't want that either. So make that exact, which means do in your calculator, this divided by, add the 1. What do I do next? Times or exponent? Of course it's exponent. So I'd get this value in my calculator, just go to the 180th, so get the answer to the 180th, and then times it by 2,000. So don't round until final answer. Order of ops. PEMDAS. Okay? All right. Let's go to the last page here. Got a couple more examples here. Actually, just kidding. That's all the notes. The next page, 2 pages are your homework, but there's a 3rd page too, the practice quiz. I do want you to do that as well. We're going to take a quiz tomorrow. So you've got 3 pages of homework. These first 2 pages, you should easily get done in class. The last page, really, you probably can too, but you might have to go back and look at your notes because we had a snow day. Have a good day.